Okay, we're on lesson 2, qualifying. This is a really important lesson because when I talk about qualifying, there's a lot of people say, well, what exactly does that mean? I kind of touched on it in contacting because it's the motivations behind why I'm asking specific questions. For example, if we were to just answer this question, why qualify? Obviously, the one thing that I'm going to talk about is just because you're out there to make money. And when you qualify a person, for example, or an area that you work in, or qualify the activities that you are engaged in, it's because your time is worth a dollar amount per hour. Now, what is your time worth an hour? Let's think about this. Let's say your goal is to make $40,000 a summer, or $50,000. If you want to make $50,000, divide that by the number of sales days that are in the summer. There's about 100 sales days when you take out the time that you can take off and so forth. And then divide that number, all of this, by 10 hours in a day. So if you spent 10 hours working every single day in a 100-hour or 100-day summer, and your goal was to make $50,000, then your time is worth $50 per hour. So when you say qualify, let's first talk about your time. What are you doing with your time? Are you qualifying the activities that you're doing? Talking, asking for referrals, and handing out flyers are 3 things you can do that are the most effective, but are you talking to the most effective people? Are you qualifying the people that you are speaking to? And so, for example, I know that if I am speaking to quality customers, that if I do talking and asking for referrals, and if I hand out flyers and I get good at those 3 things, then I can plan on taking my goal, let's say my goal is $150,000 this summer, divided by the number of days, divided by 10 hours in a day, then at this point, my time should be worth $150 per hour. So if you find yourself doing things such as stamping flyers in the morning instead of going out and actually talking to somebody, or driving around looking for that perfect area, those things do not get you paid. Just realize that if your goal is high, when you're driving around, it is costing you $50 an hour or $150 an hour. Let me give you an example. Last summer, Tim Clarkson made $71,000. So his time last summer was worth $71 an hour if he worked 10-hour work days. Skeeter Ellison, his time was worth $112 per hour. And so just imagine that. If you want to have a high goal, take that goal, divide it by 100 working days, and divide it by 10 hours in a day, and then qualify what you're doing during your day to make sure that you're spending your time wisely. Now, so why do we do it? Obviously, because we want to make money. The second question here is, what are we qualifying? We talked about the customers, but also you, and I'll get into that a little bit, but first I want to touch on customers. Why do we qualify customers, and how do we do it? In order to qualify, a customer has to, first off, for free dish and digital home plan, they have to pass a small credit check, and they also have to have a credit card with $1 worth of room on it. And so when you're talking to a customer, if I'm in a trailer park that has just a bad economy in general, it's dirty and so forth, maybe the sales are a little bit easier. When I go to the door, I'm going to change up my door approach from how are you, do you live here, and so forth, and I'm going to ask them before I get into it very far, would you mind if I asked, do you have a credit card? Because that's what you have to qualify. If they say, yeah, sure do, or if they don't, say, you don't even have like a Visa check card? If they say, no, I don't, then you know exactly what you're going to have to present to them. Before you start presenting them free dish and free installation, make sure that you know that they'll even qualify for those 2 things. Okay, so one thing that you can do to avoid all of that is just choose good areas. When I first started doing this, I used to go to lower income areas like trailer parks. Now I prefer areas where I know that if I can commit a person to buy, they're going to actually qualify to do it. Nothing's more frustrating than committing a person and then finding out that they don't have a credit card, or that their credit is so horrible that they won't even qualify for a free dish promotion. Okay. Now I talked about qualifying you. What does this mean? Basically, when I say you, I mean your statements. A lot of times customers will, well, when you're at the door speaking to someone, they're going to ask you, well, how much does it cost? Make sure that before you just blurt out something like $29.99 a month and the lowest price, make sure you understand that customer's situation before you do. So for example, if they say, how much does it cost? I'm going to answer that question with a question of my own. In fact, at least two. I'm going to ask them, how many televisions do you have? And how many channels do you want? So it's going to depend on those two things, and also if they want to get anything like a DVR or high definition television. So just be aware of those things. If someone asks you, well, how much does it cost? Well, it kind of depends. How many TVs are you going to use? They give you the number of televisions. You can turn over your laminate and find out, and then go, well, which package do you want? Make sure that you are not quoting a customer a price that's inaccurate because you did not qualify your statements before you made them. Also, this also kind of reveals why certain questions I ask in the actual contacting section. Why do I ask them, do you live here? Because I realize that to qualify me to make my goal, whatever dollar amount that is, I have to be spending my time talking to people who can actually get me to that goal. Who is a decision maker? So when you're looking at customers, make sure that the questions you ask are also revealing to you, can this person make a buying decision? Do they have a credit card? Do they have a social security number? Are the statements that you are making accurate? And are you qualifying your statements by making sure that you ask things like number of televisions, the programming packages, if they're getting a DVR? If you do that, it makes the sales process a lot less painful and makes your time worth more money. And that's why we're here.